Folks, one of the things we do on this channel is we not only bring you millionaires, but we bring you millionaires with different experiences. And on Mondays, we get Taylor from Life Goal Investments, who's a 10-year Wall Street veteran. Yes, on Wall Street. And we got to ask him some questions. There's some craziness going on in the world. Taylor, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be on here as always. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you. The audience loves you. They love our interaction. We don't always agree, right? You're a stock guy, I'm a real estate guy. We don't always agree, which is awesome.
We laugh, we fight, we giggle. All the above.
Exactly. But I want to ask you something. A lot of folks are learning about FDIC. They're learning about uninsured deposits. They're learning about the 250K amount. We've seen money leaving small banks for big banks because they are perceived as being safer. But you're a Wall Street veteran. We've seen Charles Schwab in the news a lot. I want to talk about, is Charles Schwab FDIC insured? Is Robinhood or any of these trading platforms FDIC insured? Are they?
So Schwab specifically has gotten absolutely pounded through this whole thing. And their executives actually, to their credit, they've backed up the truck and bought their own personal accounts up in a massive, massive way, millions and millions of dollars from their executives.
I think it was $6 million. I think I read on Saturday, $6 million. Good for them. Put your money where your mouth is, big boy.
Exactly right. Exactly right. No, so there is a different regulatory agency that
so
regulates.
I want to be clear, they are not FDIC insured.
They're not FDIC insured. No, so they are insured by SIPC, Security Investor Protection Corporation, I believe is the acronym there. Yeah, so it's a different regulatory agency, and they are seen in a different light. So it's not like a banking deposit like you would have at Bank of America or whatever. And there's some different rules and regulations that SIPC looks at things in a different lens.
So as I understand it, and I'm with you because you know this stuff much better than I, they are not FDIC insured. I want people to realize this. They are SIPC insured. Second, it's actually the same number as I understand it. It's $250,000. Same like FDIC, SIPC, different thing, all of that. But all of you, most of you out there should just understand they are insured, not FDIC, something else. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I think it's interesting to look at it this way. Like, most people who have money on Schwab's platform, on Robinhood's platform, whatever, the bulk of it's invested. And so I think it's interesting to understand, like, okay, what happens if Schwab fails, just using them as the example, and I have $1 million worth of investments in the stock market, bond, whatever it is. So what's interesting to be very clear on there is that is your investment. You own that investment. It is just housed on Charles Schwab's platform. So what's happened historically is we have seen these brokerage platforms fail, time and time again, or not time and time again. I don't mean to say that.
They have failed. We have seen some failures.
Correct. I'm not saying it's perpetual, this and that. But what's important there is what happens is SIPC will then come in and organize a merger. Largely like we see in some of the banking industry, right? So they will come in and say, okay, we're going to find someone else, an existing brokerage platform to take those accounts and house them for you. And so it will be pulled into Fidelity, into whatever it is, another big brokerage firm. And in the absolute extreme event that cannot take place because there's bigger domino effects going on, a different thing happens. SIPC will then custody all of the assets. So they will take over those accounts and they will liquidate them immediately at current market value. So if the S&P is at 400 or, VOO, whatever's at 4, whatever the number is, they will liquidate that and ship the investors their investments at that current day's market value.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I think are very different for folks. If you take a bank, FDIC, and trading accounts, again, you own $1 million in stock. Apple stock, for example, very liquid. What's different is when I walk into a bank and give them $1 million, that $1 million you can think sits in a big pile. It's not really a pile, but think of it. And then it's the bank's job to lend that out. They don't separate my $1 million from all the other. It's one big pile. Correct. When I go to a trading account or I go on my phone and I buy $1 million worth of Apple stock, it is Michael Zuber's stock. It's mine. It's not a big pile of any others. Is that a fair summary?
That's 100% correct. And I think the other thing that is important to understand is that, and this is painting with a broad stroke, there are some exceptions here, but those investment firms, those brokerage firms that house those money, They do not go and then lend it out on the back end.
No, exactly.
So that's the important thing, is like the banking issue is being faced because they're lending money out the other end. They're investing money in
fractional
bonds
reserve
themselves.
lending, right? 9-to-1 ratio. That's banks' job. That's how banks custodian money and make their money to pay their bills. The trading account is just housing it. They're not lending on it, not using it as collateral, not doing. It's just housed there because we don't want to have stock certificates flying all over the place getting lost.
Correct. You can, interestingly though, I've heard this from some folks lately. You can actually request a stock certificate, which is awesome and old school. I don't have one. I need to get one just for you know,
you just need to get one. Yeah.
I need to have one on the wall. Yeah, but no, super important to understand that it is, you know, it's not physical ownership because that's not the right word, but it is ownership by you of that particular investment if things were to go sideways. And now I will give you the worst case scenario again. If SIPC then is not able to organize a merger with another company to take over those brokerage accounts, and you do have to be liquidated, the problem here is, and this is, you know, this is not the worst problem in the world if that's because there are real issues if that plays out. Right. But the only problem that you'll experience there is that if it is a taxable account that you have on that platform, you will potentially experience taxable implications, capital gains on that when the money gets liquidated and returned to you.
Yeah, this is very different than FDIC. Again, a lot of people are hearing FDIC the first time. They're realizing, or at least hearing, that their deposits might not be safe, which is causing activity. I want to be very clear. The trading accounts are very different. You own it. It's yours. It's not being levered up. It's not. It's a very different game, but it's also not FDIC insured. It's just another organization.
And another interesting thing to point out here is that some of these brokerage firms also have banking arms. True. And that's kind of a different situation. You go back to the same debacle that's facing the banking world at large right now can take place at these brokerage accounts with a separate entity banking arm that they have.
It's again, though, you can almost think of it as a different company, right? If the banking arm had a hit, it would be cut off. It's segregated and different. Yes, but again,
so like, for this reason, like I do all of my personal trading. Investing. I don't like to be called a trader. I'm an investor, not a trader. So let me draw that very clear. I do all of
there
my
is a difference.
Yes, very much so. I do all of my investment on Charles Schwab's platform. And I have no reason to say Charles Schwab versus Fidelity, whatever it is.
No, it's just that I'm old. It's just, it was one of the first ones. I'm old and never got a second account. That's why.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And with that, I have zero concern that my money is good there. I've not pulled it. I will not pull it there. No concern.
No concern. No, I've had, no concern. At the end of the day, folks, your trading accounts are not FDIC insured, but they are insured for the same number. And I would tell you they're custodian and no leverage. And I feel great with my stuff there. If I had $1 million at a small regional bank, let me tell you, it wouldn't be there today, right? If I had $1 million, but if I have $1 million at Charles Schwab, I'm not concerned about it. It's very different. Very, 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 very different. So Taylor, you put out a lot of stuff, and I actually saw this on your Instagram page. Where should people go if they want to watch you talk about this?
Yep. Instagram and TikTok is where we're at. We're at Life Goal Investments, and this is the kind of stuff we do. So thank you, Michael.
Make sure you put an S on investments. There are these fake accounts and trolls out there. So again, Life Goal Investments. Thanks. And if you do go there, tell them you came from One Rental at a Time. Thanks, bud.